All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. We're diving deep today, really deep into this idea of the shadow, you know, that hidden part of ourselves that Carl Jung talked about.
Okay.
We've got some excerpts from a text that really breaks down this whole concept, and we're going to try to uncover what's lurking down there in the shadows.
Sounds good.
And how we can actually make it work for us, not against us.
I love that. Yeah. It is. It's a journey of self-discovery, really, when we look at this, understanding the shadow. It's not about getting rid of, like, you know, all the quote-unquote negative parts of ourselves. It's really about integrating them into a whole balanced personality.
Okay, so let's start by unpacking what exactly is the shadow. Our source defines it as, you know, that unconscious part of ourselves. The stuff we deny, repress, or even fear.
Which is interesting because it's not inherently bad. Like, people think of the shadow and they immediately go to, like, the dark side.
Exactly.
But it's really not. It's more like a reservoir of potential instincts and emotions that we haven't fully processed yet. And that's what's so fascinating about it, is that all this stuff that we kind of shove down there ends up shaping our behavior in ways that we don't even realize.
So it's not necessarily the Jekyll and Hyde situation, right? It's more like unacknowledged potential.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that too.
I think the example that they give in the excerpt is a good one.
Okay, yeah, what's that? It's like, you know, that person who's like super, super nice all the time. But they bury a ton of anger deep down.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That unexpressed anger, that's the shadow at work.
That's the shadow, all right?
Yeah.
That makes me think about...
What about you?
Yeah, like, I don't know, if you ever had that, like...
Oh, all the time.
Like, and I'm thinking specifically, like, that time I completely lost my cool in traffic.
Oh, yeah.
It was so unlike me.
Sure.
You know? But maybe that was...
maybe that was it.
Yeah, maybe that was my shadow.
Sneaking out.
Yeah.
Sneaking out. And what's interesting, too, is that, like, what we shove into that shadow, it's often shaped by our upbringing, societal norms, even our own personal beliefs.
Oh, interesting.
So, like, if certain emotions weren't acceptable in our family or culture, we might repress those and push them down into the shadow.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Our source also mentions the person who values kindness but represses anger. Or the logical...
Oh, I see that one.
Who shuts down their emotional side.
Yeah.
Can you relate to any of those, listener?
Right.
I know.
Have you ever felt that pressure?
Yeah. Felt the pressure.
To keep a lid on it.
To keep a lid on certain emotions.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
But these hidden aspects, we don't just sit there quietly, right?
Right.
The shadow, it manifests in our lives in various ways.
So how do we actually recognize it then?
Right.
How do we recognize the shadow in our lives?
That's the big question.
The text highlights a few key ways.
Okay.
And one that really jumped out at me.
Yeah, which one?
Was projection.
Ah, projection.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah, projections happen when we see flaws in other people. Right.
That are actually reflections of our own shadow stuff.
Interesting.
It's like we're pointing a spotlight on something that we haven't dealt with internally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
give me an example.
Like if I'm constantly annoyed by, let's say, a coworker's disorganization.
Right.
Could it be that I struggle with similar tendencies?
Maybe.
But I'm repressing them.
Possibly.
So I end up like
projecting
them onto my colleague.
Exactly. Instead of acknowledging and addressing our own disorganization, we criticize it in others.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah, it's easier that way.
It makes you wonder.
It does.
How many arguments are really just projections of our own shadows clashing?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our source also mentions
what else?
Dreams.
Oh yeah.
As a shadow manifestation.
Dreams, yeah.
Those weird
symbolic nightmares.
Have a lot of those.
Could actually be the shadow trying to communicate with us.
That's what they say.
But dreams can be so cryptic.
They are.
How can we even learn to decipher their messages?
Right. How do we figure out what they mean?
Yeah. What are shadows trying to tell us?
Well, there are a lot of different methods, but one good starting point is journaling.
Okay.
Journal about your dreams.
Yeah.
Look for any recurring symbols, themes, or even just like think about what emotions they evoke.
Right.
And working with a therapist who is experienced in dream analysis can also be incredibly insightful.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
And then finally we have those impulsive actions that seem totally out of character.
Just bulb in there.
Right. Yeah. That's the shadow sneaking out.
Sneaking out.
But here's the good news. Engaging in what our text calls shadow work can have some really amazing benefits. Yeah. And our text really emphasizes how Jung saw integrating the shadow as key to personal growth.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. It's not about getting rid of these parts of ourselves.
Right.
Like we were talking about earlier.
Right.
It's about understanding them and integrating them into a whole balanced personality.
I like that.
And this leads to like much greater self-awareness, you know? Yeah. And think about it. When you understand your shadow, you're less likely to fall into those projection traps.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You start owning your stuff instead of blaming other people.
Wow. That's
huge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And it's not just about fewer arguments, right?
Right, yeah.
It's integrating your shadow can lead to more authentic relationships.
Absolutely.
Because you're no longer projecting your own...
We're coming from a more...
unresolved issues.
Genuine place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can show up with more understanding, empathy for other people.
Awesome.
Which is a game changer.
That is a game changer.
Yeah.
Shadow work can also unlock tremendous creativity.
Right.
Right.
Like all those hidden desires and passions, they can become fuel for artistic expression.
Wow.
Innovation.
So how do we tap into this?
Right. How do we tap into it?
How do we actually tap into this hidden potential?
Well, our source suggests journaling, dream analysis, and therapy, especially with someone who's trained in Jungian psychology.
It's fascinating.
That is.
That all of those are about understanding the shadow.
Totally.
Not eliminating it.
Right.
It's not about getting rid of it.
Right.
It's about from becoming a more complete version of yourself.
More complete version of yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
If the shadow isn't something to be feared, but rather a source of potential.
I love that.
What could you unlock by exploring yours, listener?
Right. What could you unlock?
Maybe it holds the key.
It might.
To a breakthrough with a creative project or a deeper understanding of your relationships.
Right. And the thing is, this journey of self-discovery, it's ongoing.
Right.
The more we learn about ourselves, including the parts we'd rather keep hidden, the more fulfilling and meaningful our lives can become.
I love that.
I think so, too.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us today, listener.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
This has been
it's been fun.
A fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Into the shadow. Be sure to check out
Check back next week.
Check back next week.
We'll have more.
For more resources.
Good stuff.
And until next time, keep exploring.
Keep exploring.
Yeah, keep exploring your shadow.
Absolutely.
All the potential it holds.
That's what it's all about.
All right.
See you next time.
See ya.